Hello there. Today I would like to talk for a few minutes about the issue of pension fund charges, in particular in light of the report that was issued earlier this week and supported by Joan Burton, our Minister in the Irish Government, who suggests that the pensions industry represents very poor value for money and would suggest that pension charges can equate to upwards of 30% of your final fund value at retirement. In a word, it's nonsense. And if Joan Burton is watching this today, I challenge her to challenge me on my suggestion that, in a word, it is nonsense. The pensions industry today charges approximately 1% of your pension fund to manage all your pension fund. That 1% covers the expertise of employing a pension fund manager who will be highly qualified, hardware and software that accesses markets right around the globe, access to fund managers from Argentina and Brazil, north to Russia, south to Cape Town, and across as far as Australia, to provide infrastructure, to provide online facilities, backup support, annual reports, and so on. A 1% fee to provide all that in itself, I would argue, is actually exceptionally good value for money, especially when you consider the disingenuous approach by the government, who are providing no service whatsoever to you as a pension fund holder, and yet are extracting 0.6% a year of a fee from your fund and doing nothing in return for it. For Joan Burton to criticise the pensions industry for managing your pension fund with an average fee of about 1% a year, when Joan Burton is overseeing the extraction of 0.6% a year and doing nothing for it, is quite frankly an insult to our intelligence. If you've got a pension fund that's that you commenced since 1996, 97, 98, yes, you should have that pension reviewed for charges, because the charging structure of 15, 16 years ago and more clearly would not be as streamlined and as efficient as it is today. But leaving that to one side, for what the pensions industry does for its 1% or so a year, I would argue is quite reasonable. Some companies charge a bit more than 1%, maybe as far as 1.5%. Some companies charge as little as about 0.65%. It depends on whether your pension fund is dormant or active, whether you're currently paying into it monthly or annually or not at all, and it depends on whether or not you're using external fund managers outside of the in-house view of your pensions insurance company. But as a value for money proposition, we would suggest it's very reasonable. The issue of pension fund performance very often gets confused with pension fund charges, and it shouldn't. And that's the real issue. You can't expect to pick a pension fund at 30 or 40 years of age and stay with that fund through to 65 years of age, never have it reviewed, never have it appraised, and assume that that pension fund is going to deliver for you in 25 or 30 years' time. To correctly invest in pension funds and to correctly monitor and administer it involves a partnership of three key players: you, the consumer, the pensions company / fund manager, and your advisor. Until now, the consumer has taken a very, very passive backseat in that whole process and has left it up to the advisor and the pensions insurance company to take all the decisions. And we in Talk Financial firmly believe that is wrong. The day is coming for the fee-based advisor. Yes, in Talk Financial, we've been promoting fee-based advice over commission for the past 5 or 6 years. It's a slow process, but we are getting there. Our fee-based clients are not disappointed with their pensions. They're not disappointed with their charges because they understand them. It is transparent. We are held to account, and you are held to account, to have your pension reviewed on an annual or biannual basis, to understand what funds you're in, and to ensure that as those funds chop and change their direction, that they continue to suit your expectation, your appetite for risk, and your ultimate objective when it comes to retirement. That service does not and cannot come free. And we suggest that the issue of a fee-based approach to managing your pension funds into the future is now here. Joan Burton et al. Have yet again misunderstood what the real issue is. The pensions industry represents perfectly reasonable value for money for what it does. The public need to become more accustomed to paying fees for professional advisory services, and then to work with the broker offices towards moving away from commission in favour of fee-based advisory services. And before Joan Burton and company point the finger at the industry for representing what she would deem to be bad value for money at an average of a 1% fee a year, the government needs to look at their extraction of 0.6% a year, or another 45% of a charge on your fund every year, whereby they do nothing for it whatsoever. Pensions make sense. Tax relief on pensions encourages you to put money into them. Even if there's no tax relief on them, pensions still make sense because we must provide for our financial security and independence when we decide to not work. Charges are reasonable, but where we need to progress into the future is in genuine professional partnership between the consumer, the advisor and the pensions company. And the right way to do that is for the consumer to become educated on the benefits of paying fees for advice instead of paying commission for sales. Until next time, thank you for listening, and if you have any queries, visit us at talkfinancial.ie or ring us from Ireland on 091 777 121. Thank you, bye-bye.